YouTube. This is D, and welcome to Uneventful Upkeep. So this is the follow-up to the unboxing. I've got the first four, and what I did is we painted them. So I just want to go through my thoughts on that on each one. We'll actually save her for last, and him second to last. We'll actually do it with, we'll start with Alexia, if I can get her open. Yeah, I put them back in the boxes, mainly just because I don't have my storage solution set up yet for them. And the fact that once they were sealed and everything, it's like, where else are they going to be safer than wrapped in bubble wrap and in a box until I can get, an actual thing set up for them. Okay, so this is Alexia. I did paint her directly based off of, here, let me move these out of the way. We're all sorts of a mess today, aren't we? All based off of like the actual artwork. Let's get this so that you can actually see it. The ring light from the camera I'm using comes straight down. I need to get a better setup. So last time I used a GoPro. This time I'm using a Razer Kio uh, and just like a normal headset mic. So the audio quality is not the best, but it still works. So we did paint her the best that we could based off of the image herself. And I kind of cheat when it comes to painting. I use contrast paints for like 99.9% of my stuff. So her armor, as an example, is Black Legion, which, no, actually, her armor is not Black Legion. Her armor is, I think, Basilicum Gray. I wanted a dark gray and then I multi-coated it, but I didn't want it super dark where it was like black. And then I did a lot of the detailing and outlining with lead belcher. There it goes. So like the metal rimming there, and then like the knee caps and all that, all lead belcher. The hair is what I think Griff Charger Gray to start, a couple layers of that, and then Draconoth Nightshade of all things, which I have over here. So Draconoth Nightshade as kind of like a as like a well, as a wash, but that's what gave her that like bluish tint hair that I love. The face is Gilliman Flesh, and I don't really do eyes or like makeup or anything like that. I can't do it without the specific tools, and I just need to replace those tools, so I just haven't. So what I normally do is just like dark contrast into those sockets to just give like the illusion of eyes. Uh, and then the cloak is Magos Purple, and it comes out Magos Purple, amazing color, like really good, but it comes out very light. So this was like 3 or 4 coats of Magos Purple before it got to this dark shade consistency, which is pretty close to the cloak. And then I hit it with Newell oil. Newell oil, if you don't use it, please do. Like, it will change your life. It is, people say it's liquid talent, and they're not wrong. Like, it just gets into the cracks. It makes them a little dirtier than normal, but you're fine. So, like, as an example, the sword. The sword is just Retributor armor. And the Retributor armor does really well to, make golds. Then you hit it with the Newell oil, and it gets in all the cracks, but it does look very dirty. So what you can then do is just take the same paint and Newell oil and go back over it for highlights. The sword is Iron Warriors, because I wanted a darker metal than the lead belcher that I used on her. And then the middle green section is just Warp Lightning. And I did that twice. And I do this trick a lot. I'll use Warp Lightning over whatever the color is, so the metal. And then that will, because whatever you put contrast over will affect how it looks. And then I did like a string of white, and I use a white scar. I think white scar for that. Yeah, white scar. And then I just put a line of white, and then I hit it again. And what that does is it creates a nice little highlight line in the middle of it. And that's it. She was really simple to paint. Gilliman Flesh, Basilicum Gray, Griff Charger Gray, Draconoth Nightshade, Newell oil, Magos Purple, and then some metals. And she came out really good. Like, I loved painting this many. No problems with this many. And this many was the new resin, and we'll get to why that's important later. Like, total joy to paint. Now we're going to put her up. So, the reason I bring up new resin, and we'll actually I want to do Baranova last. Oh, that sucks. Okay, so the older resin to me seems kind of brittle. And I was told, hey, you could put in a ticket with Privateer Press and they'll get you a new model. But I was told that after I had finished um, painting. So I was like, oh, that's nice. That's good to know. Doesn't do me any damn good right now unless I want to totally redo my paint job. And I don't. So yeah, we're dealing with the brittle. So here's Prisoner. Um, Prisoner sword, same trick. As I did with the other sword. This is also Warp Lightning, and then we did the whole sword in Warp Lightning. We didn't base coat it metal. We actually left this as the primer, which was also White Scar from GW, and that did a pretty good thing in terms of like how bright it was. But then I went over it again to darken it down a little, and then I took White Scar and I dry brushed over all the faces, and then I hit it one more time. And the thing about contrast is the more you layer it, just like the mango's purple, the darker it gets. Versus like normal base paints and other like acrylics, they'll just usually keep the same consistency. They don't get too darker. Well, I mean, it depends on the formula, but you know what I mean. Um, the gems didn't come out quite as detailed as I'd like. Like here, they're very shiny. I probably need to use classic techniques for that. But all the metals came out really good. There's snakebite leather. Uh, the Iron Warriors here, I did not use any lead belcher. Retributor armor for the golds. For my reds, this is where I started using reds. I'm actually using ball red as my primary red because it's very bright, and then Evil Sun Scarlet as my highlight line. And you can't really see it too much, but like along the edges here, like I did a very, very, very tame highlight. And part of me wishes I would have done a more of a highlight than I did, but you know, it is what it is. She's already painted. Um, Considering I'm probably not going to use her too much, it was a good learning model in terms of what she did. I made a color mistake here. I made the black pack leather when there's so much leather dominating like her front areas and like the legs and everything. The bedroll should have been a different thing, and then that would have given me the ability to make these leather. So I needed colors for the pouches. The water skin, it's leather. I made sure to metal the cap. And then I just picked, I used blue, Talisar blue on the back, and then I used Grip Charger gray for the second bag, which is funny because 90% of the Kadorian cloth, what I'm going to use for them is, I believe this one, yes, Briar Queen Chill. That's what her cloth is, cloth, and that's what I use for like the straps here, Briar Queen Chill. But like this bag is Grip Charger gray, and they look so similar. This is a little darker once it settles into recesses, but still kind of made me laugh. I was like, yeah, they're different. They'll look different. No, they're pretty much damn the same thing. Her face, I snafu'd on. It's a little darker than normal. There's a couple layers of Gilliman's flesh on there. I might go back over it with White Scar if I was to do this model again and just highlight like the forehead, the nose, the cheeks, and then hit it with another thing of Gilliman's flesh just to make it look better. But I was at that point, I was kind of like, I want to move on. She came in two parts, the sword arm and the body, and I just single assembled her. I didn't need to sub-assemble that. But she was also fun to paint. No problems whatsoever there. Now the other two, which is sad because one of them is my favorite model. The whole reason I was getting into Kador, um, where the new resin, and like I said, they were brittle. So as an example, with the Koldun Lord, he was actually the last one I painted. I was not like super excited to paint him, but I'm like, all right, I have him anyways. And also, the next order's been placed for the next set of mercenaries. I am just going to buy them all in case I want to pivot. Because, quick aside. Oh, God, he came out so good. As much as, like I say, hey, Kador is probably the way I'm going to go, I'm not 100% sure on that. Because at the end of the day, like, I know I don't know anything about this game. I'm just now getting into it. And at the end of this month is QuestCon. And QuestCon is going to be a total blast. And there's a bunch of Machine players there, and Warhammer players and other game players. But Warmachine is mainly what I'm excited to see. Um, The Warmachine players, I'm gonna pick their brain and see what they say. Like I'm not gonna go for the most meta army. Like my three choices are between uh Khador and then the house, the new red. Those are very close. Like to me, they're super close. I could go either way on either one of those. And then finally Zogroth, Sea Raiders, just because they do look kind of badass. And I'm just gonna see what people say between there. I'm pretty sure I'm still gonna go Khador, but it could swing either way. So this is my Koldun Lord Damien Korovnik, um, and he came out amazing. When I looked at his card, and I was like, oh wow, there's a lot of blue there. I was like, should I do that or should I do like Khador colors? And I was like, you know what? Let's keep it blue. I haven't done blue like this in a long time. So the basic cloth is Briar Queen again. And then Talisar Blue is what I use for the deep cloth. And I thought that was going to look horrible at first. I'm like, well, let's just give it a try. And then when it was all said and done, I'm so happy I did. It looks so good. It's so striking in terms of like how it pops. But when I barely dropped this guy, like he was sitting here and then he fell over, and this little back part of his axe just snapped off for no reason. Like I've seen models and minis, even 3D printed ones, take so much harder tumbles and falls and be perfectly okay. But this guy's like, nah, this little back of his axe, yeah, it doesn't want to be here anymore. Scar white for the beard. It's actually just straight primer. I didn't even or white scar for the beard. Like that's just primer. Like I didn't even paint anything over that. I was just like, it's white enough. When I hit it with no oil, it'll do fine. Um, Apothecary white for the edges of the fur. So this is all apothecary white. Um, Talisar with Iron Warriors to kind of blot over those little metal things. Retributor armor for the gold. Um, Iron Warriors for the metal bits. I didn't do any glow effects. I probably should have. Gilliman Flesh for the fleshy bits. Retributor armor for the shoulders. If you notice at the shoulders, there's a highlight. It's the same thing. Retributor armor. Hit it with the Nuln oil wash, and then later come back over with fresh Retributor armor to get highlights. Like it's such a basic technique, but it looks so good and it works so well. Iron Warriors, Snakebite Leather, Retributor Armor, Talisar Blue over the weapons. They look a little cloudy, and I think that's because of the Munitorium Varnish Sealer that I used, so I might go back over those again and make them pop, but he came out so good. Like, I adore this mini. I might go back and try to do glow effects. Glow effects is not my strong suit. It is something I need to practice, but I think he looks good as is. I think he looks great as is, to be honest. He's probably one of the favorite models. The end result, like the model as a whole, not a big fan. Painting the model and the way he came out, amazing. Like I've never been so pleasantly surprised. I'm just sad that it broke. Like it was an easy repair. It was just gel-based super glue. I use Loctite super glue. Um, Super gel control because you can control how fine it comes out, how quickly it comes out, how much comes out, a lot better than like other glues. I refuse to use Gorilla Glue for personal reasons. One of my past lives, aka older jobs, may have had to deal with that company, and knowing the leadership, never going to give them a dime. And that's all I got to say about that. Like I'm not going to go into too much detail. So if someone's like, "Oh, you should try this Gorilla Glue," sorry, can't. I refuse. And then here she is, the lady herself, Captain Ekaterina Baranova. That's the worst part about Khador names. I just call her Erica. So Erica here was so much fun to paint. She was one of those trust the process, trust the process, trust the process minis for the entire time I was painting her, but she came out so good. Apothecary white for the hat, Apothecary white for the cloak, and she was Zenitheld. I used the very last of my black primer from GW to do the undercoat, and then the top was done in white scar. The other three were just straight white scar. And zenithaling makes this so much of a difference. It's not even funny.
White Scar on the axe blade, and then Imperial Fist, which, by the way, the prisoner, her blonde hair was also Imperial Fist. Um, for the power armor in her chest, the three little yellow lines are there, but they're barely visible. That is the downside to a Newland oil wash, is it will take small power details like that and wash them out very poorly. To the point where I'm debating on just going back over to make these things pop again. I'm not doing any OSL. It's not something I can do easily. I do own an airbrush, and I know that's supposed to help, but I want to take some classes and use some cheat minis to just like practice on before I'm going to do it on my game pieces. Again, Ba Red, Evil Sun Scarlet for highlights. You can see the highlights mostly on the little areas there, it pops up, but most other places it didn't really pop up that well. Like I did highlight these sections here and on the thigh guards, those didn't show up at all. Um, yeah, Black Legion for the black armor bits, Retributor armor for all the gold, Iron Warriors for the steel. It was pretty simple, straightforward paint job, and then Snakebite leather for the edges of the brown fur. And part of me wishes, because I did her second. I did Alexia first, her second, Prisoner third, and then the old guy fourth. Part of me wishes I would have seen the old guy before doing this, because I probably would have done Apothecary White for the brown fur, but it probably would have bled with the hat too much. So actually, no, I'm kind of glad I didn't, because now the hat stands out a lot more in the brown fur than it would if the fur was white. The hair is White Scar. I did actually have to paint back over that. Just hit with Newland oil because it just does good job. It does a great job. But I mean, she's pretty good. Now with her, she also snapped right there where the red meets the black. I think I like hit the sword a little too hard, and it just clean cut right off. And I had to and I say a little too hard. It wasn't like I hit this thing going 30 miles per hour. I barely nicked it, and it just took the whole thing off. So, and I've heard people complain about the quality of the old resin, so that's fun. I'm not looking forward to that, but it is what it is. I just be extra careful with them. So that's where we are with the army. Now, the next thing is basing. Obviously, they're on just like normal bases that are all messed up. They're not what somebody would consider 100%, and I agree, because they need to be based. I'm working with an Etsy seller to get some 3D printed base inserts because I don't have a 3D printer. And unfortunately, their base inserts are default calibrated for Warhammer 40K, which, that's fine. That's their main game, probably. They probably sell most of their stuff via Warhammer. But obviously, this is not Warhammer. So they call them toppers because for Warhammer, the bases are, just flat discs. I actually have a Marine right here. Yo, what's up? This is an Eradicator, but their bases don't have the inserts or anything like that. It's just flat disc, so you just under the flat disc. But for us, we have to have them sink into the disc because they have the lip, and I want to preserve the lip. Like I could just get 3D printed bases of the Warhammer variety at the right, millimeter, 30 millimeter, etc. But sorry, I had to take a drink there. It's very vlog style in a sense, but it doesn't feel the same. I want to, for nostalgia reasons, preserve the lip. Um, when I painted some scorn, let me grab them real fast. From one of the demo boxes, because a friend and I wanted to test the game, and we still haven't got the time to play. This is the Warcaster, which you literally can't even play. He's not even in the app. Um, this is just texture paint with highlighting. I think it was Longbeard gray, just dry brushed over, and then Newland oil. And then the base was painted Iron Warriors and then just red contrast. And I'm probably going to use this same technique on them. But I want the base inserts to be in there, and the base inserts are going to be, they're like I said, the 3D printed ones. So I'm just waiting for the demo ones. I've got an amazing guy on one of the um, groups. I think it's Ice King. Hold on, yeah, the Ice King, who is also a YouTuber. Provided the measurements for what he's using in his prints, and I provided those to the printer, and hopefully they're going to be able to work. they're providing me a 30, a 40, a 50, and an 80 so that I can do all that. And with the next batches of miniatures I'm buying, one of them is Magnus. And Magnus is Giant Robots, my 80. And I have older models. I have like Rhett and stuff that come on 40 and 50, so I can use those. And of course, I have 30s. So I'm probably going to either take Erica or Alexis or even Magnus. And with Magnus, I'll have his 30 and then I'll have his Jack's 80. And I'm going to do my basing scheme there. And what I'm going to do with them, I think, is I'm going to prime them, obviously, and then paint them in Glacier to give it the blue effect, and then highlight with White Scar, just like outline everything with White Scar. And then maybe go over again with Glacier to give that White Scar highlight a little pop. And then I have Blizzard to do little ice, like snow patches, because it's going to look very much like an ice lake. Chunks of ice with snow around it. So that's the plan. I mean, yeah, snow bases with Kador, how original. But we'll see how it goes. I'm super hyped for that process. I'm just waiting to hear from them. They're in the process of printing it now, and then I have to pay for them to ship it in the box. And they're not even charging me like the print cost, which is crazy. I'd expect they would. But they said, no, we'll just send you this. This is just a demo. To be fair, I also said I want to order close to like 250 paces inserts, which is going to be like $250, $300. So they're like, yeah, no, we are happy to work with you. And I'm happy that they're happy. Hopefully I'll give them a shout out later. Like, it's one of those things that until the deal is done and it's in my hand, I don't want to necessarily pre-shout them out because you don't want to give somebody recognition for something they haven't done. But that's what it is. But on that note, I think I'm done. I think this is it. This is the update to the unboxing. We're almost got them box to table ready. We just need to get them based. They're painted, they're sealed, they're good to go. We're almost there. That last 5% is sometimes the most important. It takes a model from looking great to looking amazing. And I will, I guess, leave it off to you. What resources have helped you paint? And here's our YouTube upkeep stuff. So, what resources have helped you paint? Is there any tutorial that helped you with object source lighting, OSL, or any magical cheats that are super simple that do special effects that you absolutely adore? Kind of like the double layering contrast or whatever. Um, is there what's your favorite painting hack? There we go. That's an easy way to ask that question. What's your little favorite painting hack that gives your models that little extra oomph? Because I mean, it could help me. It could help anyone else watching it. Whatever you want to do. Please subscribe if you want to see more and join me on the journey as I slowly build out this. Then the next video should be the unboxing of the rest of them, and then from there probably a follow-up video on them being painted, as well as the scripted videos throughout once I start working on those, which I think I've got like 2 or 3 ready. I just need to fully record them. Um, but yeah, subscribe, like, it helps with the algorithm. I doubt algorithm's going to help me for a while, since this is mostly going to be people who are searching for Warmachine content who find this. But yeah, likes and subscribes helps a ton. And let me know, what's your favorite painting hack? What gives your model that little extra oomph that's super easy to do? What's your little cheat? And I'll hopefully see you guys in the next one. Deuce.